What's up guys? Chad Molyneux here with Chad Molyneux Fitness YouTube channel. So something that I feel like nobody has no idea what they're doing when it comes to working out is warming up properly, specific to what you are about to prepare your body to do. So what I wanted to go over today is how to properly warm up so that you guys aren't running around like chickens with your heads off thinking, oh, what do I gotta do now to get prepared for the work that you're about to put yourself through. So let's get right into it, guys. All right, guys, so we have a whole ton of crap on the board here, but don't worry, we're gonna go all over it. It looks confusing now, but it won't be in about 5 to 10 minutes. So, how to warm up. Step number 1. We need specificity. What does that mean? We need to warm up specifically to the exercises that we're about to put our body through. So if we're gonna be warming up for cardio, and if we're gonna be warming up for lifting, we need to warm up specifically to what we're gonna be putting our body through. So what does that entail? That entails warming up the correct energy systems for either cardio or lifting. So for example, cardio. Let's just say cardio, we're doing a longer endurance event today. Let's say we're going on the treadmill for about 30 minutes and we're just gonna run at a moderate, steady pace. What do we need to warm up? We need to warm up our oxidative system. Our oxidative system is our ability to take in oxygen and convert that oxygen into ATP so our muscles can use it for energy to do the work. So what would warming up for something like that look like? It would look like hopping on an assault bike, a rower, a skier, a treadmill, a Stairmaster, and just for 3 to 5 minutes, priming that oxidative system by just moving at a steady pace, opening up our lungs and starting to breathe, but not overexerting yourself so that you're tired for the actual workout. Okay, so we're sticking on the theme of cardio here. We can also do short sprints for cardio. This would involve our glycolytic system. Our glycolytic system is not our ability to use oxygen, but it is our ability to use glucose, sugar, glycogen as energy for our muscles to do work. So what is considered a short sprint? Anything under 20 seconds, we are using our glycolytic pathway. So doing Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, something like that. Short sprints on the treadmill for 20 seconds, resting a minute. Anything under 20 seconds, guys, is considered you're using your glycolytic pathways. So how would we warm up for something like that? Well, first off, we would do some short sprints. If you have an assault bike, we would do some short sprints, about 10 seconds. Don't go the full 20 because we don't want to burn through all of our glycogen, okay? So it would just be like doing a quick 10 second sprint on any sort of cardio machine, a rower, a treadmill, or anything like that. Doing a 10-second sprint, resting a minute. 10-second sprint, resting a minute. 10-second sprint, resting a minute. That would just be priming our glycolytic pathways. Okay, so now those are the two pathways that we would use for any sort of cardio. We wouldn't use any other pathways. So now let's move on to lifting. What energy system activation do we need for that? Well, we can only use, once again, 2 pathways during lifting. That is either the glycolytic pathway, which is majority of lifting, or the phosphagen pathway. Phosphagen pathway we could probably not really talk about because that is only going to happen when we are talking about lifting extremely heavy weights for about 1 rep. So testing your 1 rep max, we are using our phosphagen pathway. So we don't really need to warm up our phosphagen pathway if we're just going in and we're doing a typical bodybuilding workout or just a typical training session, because majority of the time we are not testing our 1 rep maxes. But for lifting, we are going to be using majority or almost 100% of our glycolytic pathway, which once again is our ability to use glycogen for energy. So what is that going to look like for lifting? You could start off with some sprints, some short sprints, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's not really specific that we get our heart rate up for lifting. But we could start with it just to get the glycolytic pathway moving. Now, what I would be more concerned about is what we're going to talk about in step 3. So we won't really go over how to warm up for lifting just yet. Okay, so once you prime your energy system, once you do some energy system activation, this is probably the most important part of warming up. Once we're done with that though, we will move on to opening up limiters. So what do I mean by opening up limiters? I mean that if you have some mobility issues, if you're bench pressing, you have some shoulder mobility issues. If you're overhead pressing, shoulder mobility issues. If you're squatting, you have hip issues. That is where we will work on some mobility exercises that are specific to the type of exercises that we're going to be putting our body through. Now, one little disclaimer here about doing mobility for lifting. If you are stretching your muscles and if you are doing mobility prior to lifting, you are limiting some of your power output that you will be using for lifting. Now, you actually want your muscles tense to get the maximum power output for lifting. But if you have some serious mobility issues that limit you from going through a full range of motion in the lifting exercise, then you have to spend some time opening up limiters, but you must make it brief so that we do not limit our power output for the lifting session. Opening up limiters for cardio also will probably be relatively brief, because when we're warming up for cardio, we always want our heart rate to be up. But we don't want to put opening up limiters before energy system activation, because we want to have some blood flow. We want to be warm so that can help aid in opening up the limiters. If you go and try to open up the limiters before energy system activation, before getting warm, you're not going to see much effect. Your limiter probably won't open up that much. So that's why we put it here, but that's also why I wrote brief. You want this to be very brief, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. So let's write that down here. About 5 to 10 minutes. Same thing for energy system activation. About 3 to 10 minutes. Not that much. So 5 to 10 minutes, 3 to 10 minutes. So far we're at a 20-minute warm-up. Okay, so now let's get into the final piece of warming up properly for the workout. This is the ramp up. This is the testing and the building so that we could lead it right into the exercise. So first, let's talk about ramping up for cardio. So let's say that today's workout, we're going to be running a mile, right? So what we want to do is we want to test how that's going to feel and build up to the volume of the workout, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's say we're on a track. We're going to run a 400 meter. A 400 meter is a quarter of a mile at a moderate pace, about 60 to 80% of our maximum output that we will put into the actual workout itself. So here we're just going to test, we're going to see how it feels. So this is also helping our mental game going into the workout. So we're going to test, we're going to run a 400 meter at about 60-80% of the output that we're going to put during the workout, and we're going to see how that feels, right? This also will have something to do with system activation as well, but I like to use the ramp up more for a mental feel to see how the workout is going to feel out, see how much effort you could put into today's exercises and workout. So that's what the ramp up and build is going to be. It's slowly progressing into the workout. So for example, sticking with that 1 mile, maybe you run a 200 meter, rest a couple minutes, run a 400 meter, rest a couple minutes, and then get right into the workout. This is extremely brief, probably only about 3. Nice, my pen isn't working. 1 second, guys. Let me grab a different pen. About 3 to 5 minutes. So the briefest of all of the other exercise or warm-up modalities. So what is ramping up going to look like for lifting? This is probably something that you guys are already doing in your warm-ups. This is slowly building up weight, so until you reach your working weight for the exercise. So we'll stick with the bench press theme. Let's say today I had to do 225 for 4 sets of 8, right? So I would do a set of 8 at 135. I would do a set of 8 if I was feeling good at 185. And then I would do a set of 8 maybe at 205, and then I would get into my working set. I wouldn't take any more than 3 jumps, because remember, we want to keep as much glycogen in our muscles as possible so that we can burn it in the workout and not burn it in the warm-up. So I would take about two to three warm-up sets. So for lifting, you want to take about 2 to 3 warm-up sets. Same thing with a deadlift, a squat. You're trying to prime the main lift for the day. Usually you're doing your main lift first, whether that be a squat, a deadlift, a bench press, an overhead press. I would take 2 to 3 warm-up sets right into your working set for the day. All right, guys, that's pretty much going to warm up. That's pretty much going to be how you warm up specifically to the exercises and the workouts that you're doing in the day. So remember, there's 3 main topics: specificity, warming up your energy system that you're going to be working that day, opening up limiters, extremely brief, and ramp up. So 3 to 10 minutes on specificity, warming up your energy system, 5 to 10 minutes on mobility, 3 to 5 minutes on the ramp up. So your warm up should be about 20 to 30 minutes, no longer than that, because we want to save the majority of our energy for the workout. So I hope this was informational for you guys. I hope that the content that I was providing is helping you guys. Make sure that you guys are commenting down below what you want to see. Hit that subscribe button. And if you guys want online coaching from me, the link is down below to my website. I'm having a 50% off sale. That will end in the beginning of April. So if you guys are interested, click the link there and it'll take you right to my website. So thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a huge thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys.